Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go.
Wow.
Might even be nice to have some company. Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Viejita is grandma.
You just have to wait until she comes back, or
Or search through her radio computer.
Klar.
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on. We should probably let it be. It's becoming clear that there's no trace of the suspect anywhere inside the church. It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
The Ream Prefect is the governmental version of the commonly used Ream Civic model. Although mostly based on the same technology, the Ream Prefect is equipped. You see fluorescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. You're free to proceed. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log, February to March. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater. Nothing happens. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Okay.
Good evening. Votre accident on Saint-Brun. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Still no. Received. I will register this login attempt. Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder for Votre accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to this filament.
I'm afraid we are not doing that. Unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received. Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you to sleep well?
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated.
Komm, lass uns da reingehen. Da reden?
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad. This is her innocence, Dolores Day.
Was?
Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs. Clear, cold wind seeps in from the crack in the glass. Snowdrifts cover the floorboards at your feet. Above, you feel her The woman looks down at you, standing there. She towers among her followers. She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times as you stand in the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles, her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass. Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. The innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived.
Ich verstehe nichts, ne?
No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. More, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time.
Das wird jetzt sehr seltsam.
Innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. And innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world.
Was weiß ich noch
Many
darüber?
things. You know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene La Navigateur, Queen of Serene, modern-day Sir La Clé. Also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty.
Und noch was? Ne?
Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous.
Hä?
It was on her
verstehe
advice
nicht viel.
that Irene La Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on.
Das ist jetzt wirklich sehr abgefahren.
She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history.
Okay.
Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest.
Vielleicht auch Radioaktivität.
Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her Therias.
Therias? Meinst du damit, oder?
She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs.
Dann?
The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Margrit were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity.
Das ist so eine Art Gottkaiser, das ist sehr seltsam.
Suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacentic, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Okay.
Lieutenant Jeffreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? She's been dead for 300 years. I am almost 1,000% certain she isn't connected to the case.
Ich glaube, ich habe recht.
None of this is, in fact. This church, the coast, this isn't a good place to get lost in.
The shards
Och,
glow
komm.
in the dark. You see little pearls of light on the edges of the crack that splits the female figure. Something was written there. Remains of broken letters line the emulsion. What it said, you do not know.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Dolorian Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
Genau.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
Was wissen Sie sonst noch darüber?
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them. The 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find the instigator here. Something else, perhaps.
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of Delorianism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are Dolorian in origin. It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The Dolorian system does not demand faith, only accordance.
Warte mal kurz. Fehlt ein bisschen was noch, ne?
The mother of humanism
Warum kann
stands
ich da?
above you.
Ja, aber da kann man doch durchgehen. Hallo? Ich rede mal nochmal mit ihm. Ich muss noch irgendetwas sein.
Oh, hey, wait. There's coffee in the back. Oh, wait. I meant the mother's love.
Coffee in the back? Something familiar about that. Coffee and stale cookies.
Too many times, essay, you need it for something.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is
Nach dem
afterlife
Leben.
death. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity La Nilita. Look, man, I'm at liberty to talk about the sacred blaze of the mother's glorious heart, but not about the coffee. I think we're done here, essay.
That was an interesting conversation. However, I'm still not sure whether we'll find our suspect here.
So.
The machine's keyboard is the speaker comes.
Good evening. Votre accident en Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian repeater station. Good. Please repeat good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access
Okay.
the filament. Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? I have 2 machines registered to this company name in Martinez. One on Saint-Brune, the other on Rue de Saint-Ghislaine.
Sehr seltsam.
That's the church. And Rue de Saint-Ghislaine? That's the doomed commercial area.
Anything else I can help you with? Sleep well, votre accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons. The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church, the door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while. Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. What was that about narcotics? This could prove to be interesting.
I doubt that we can find any. It's just idle fishermen's gossip to scare away the kids.
Okay.
Nothing spooky about this place either. It's just abandoned and cold, and in an awful part of town.
Then why doth the lieutenant protest against spending time here so often? 7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Warum brauchst du
Why
die?
would anyone need any of this equipment here?
For setting up a radio computer. 8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simon for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers. But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked.
Ja.
I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Künstler, Programmierer, Lexi, wer sind all
I
diese
thought
Leute?
these people worked in the radio computer games business. The one we saw in the doomed commercial area. They must be our former co-workers.
Datenverlust?
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the